Hey guys, welcome to another video. Arleesha here. Today I am finally going to be getting out my water mixable oil paints that I bought, oh gosh, a long time ago, close to 2 years, definitely at least over a year ago, maybe somewhere in the distant past time. And I'm going to be painting a self-portrait. I've been doing some of these recently and I've really been enjoying them, and I finally have one of them here to share with you guys. This video is very proudly sponsored by Skillshare, and I have to tell you about this class right away. I know that you guys have heard about Skillshare several times from me already, but this oil painting class, specifically this oil self-portrait class, was such a huge deal for me. The teacher of this class, she talks a lot about painting oil portraits in an hour and how she takes self-portraits and uses them to learn more about oil paints, learn more about expressing herself through this particular medium. And it was just kind of eye-opening for me to see this class and to have the opportunity to learn about oil paints in a very approachable way. If you're not familiar with Skillshare as a platform, they have thousands and thousands of online learning classes, not just for painting, but also for all different kinds of art and business things and creativity. I personally have 10 or 11 classes on Skillshare that I have been teaching myself for over a year now, and I've really been enjoying the platform. If you guys are interested in giving premium membership a try, please do check out the link down in the description where you can get a free 2-month trial to premium membership, which will give you access to over 25,000 classes, including my own and those of other wonderful creators. The link for 2 months of free premium membership is down in the description. At the beginning of this process, you saw me laying down a layer of neon pink and orange, definitely not my most used colors, but when working with these self-portraits, I've been really enjoying laying down a background color in Acryla gouache. Because that is an acrylic paint, it dries much faster than oils, and it gives me a base color to work with and kind of manipulate to create a more interesting and more experimental oil painting. I find it really interesting that a lot of times I think of oil paints as the perfectionist medium, so you have so much blending time and you can really fine-tune things as much as you want. You can get the colors exact, you can lay things over top of one another, and I personally somehow have been ending up using oil paints to just get looser. I mean, I've been doing a lot of that lately. I've been experimenting and making things a bit more impressionistic and a bit more abstract, and kind of less fine-tuned than my watercolor pieces, and I've really been enjoying working opaquely in that way, so that's what I've been doing with oils, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do today. I wanted to show you guys what this process looks like for me. So I have this giant mirror that used to be behind a dresser, or maybe something like that when we got it, and it's been sitting in the closet for a long time, and I thought it would be perfect for these self-portraits. I first started doing them back in February while I was taking a break. That's when all of the other ones are from, and it's been really helpful for me to be able to draw myself from life instead of from a picture. I just have a better idea of what the lighting conditions are right now. I can turn my head slightly if I need to see how something works, and it's just a much better way to see things. Your eye can see a lot more than a camera lens, so looking at something from life and then drawing it and painting it is, I've found, to be really helpful. I've been really hesitant about doing self-portraits for a long time just because I wasn't really comfortable with the idea of drawing or painting myself. I struggle quite a bit with my own appearance, and I know I'm probably not the first and won't be the last artist or person or anyone to say this, but as someone who works from home, I don't have to put on real clothes every day. I can walk around in sweatpants and never do my hair and shower once every 2 weeks if I want to. Not that I make a common practice of that, but I can, and I don't have to go outside, and I can be a hermit, and I can sit inside, and I can go days without looking in the mirror, and then when I do look in the mirror, I say, oh wow, look at that, a person who's not taking care of herself. And that's a bit disappointing, and it's not something that I usually look in the mirror and want to paint. I know that sounds a little bit depressing, but I'm trying to be honest and let you guys know why I haven't done something like this before. I don't commonly look at my own face and want to paint it, but I've been kind of working on all of this, improving all of it lately. So doing simple little things in the morning, like using a face mask or washing my face and doing my hair a little bit, just putting it in a ponytail or even throwing a couple bobby pins in it, putting on a shirt that I really like wearing because it's comfortable or because I like what's on it, and just doing tiny little bits of things to take care of myself. I wasn't really planning to talk about this stuff in this video, but I think it's important because I think that drawing a self-portrait is about more than just drawing / painting yourself. You have to actually want to portray yourself. And even though I wasn't going for hyper-realism or anything close to that at all, I was still looking at my face and choosing to express myself on a canvas. And I think that that does take a level of comfort in yourself to do that, because I definitely didn't want it to be this experience of drawing or painting and spending time on something that I didn't like, or that I just, I didn't want it to be a negative experience where I'd just be sitting here judging myself the entire time I was working on the painting. So anyway, this one felt really good. I've been enjoying these a lot. Some of the ones that you saw in the past, like specifically the second one that was a forward-facing portrait, that was a really good example of me feeling negatively about myself while trying to paint that portrait, and I really do think it shows in the way that that one turned out. Anyway, to talk about the actual painting, a really interesting thing that was happening was because that pink was so bright and the orange, and then I used a really bright red for my initial sort of under sketch, all of my other colors looked fairly clean on my palette, but when I put them onto the painting, compared with these super bright, crisp colors, they looked a lot more muted and desaturated and almost a little bit dirty. It was really interesting, but to be honest, I loved the effect and I loved the way that the colors worked together. Another thing I was really happy about with laying down these really bright, warm colors underneath, and then the first thing I did was I went in with some desaturated, cooler colors for the background, kind of isolated that warmth to the area of the face, the area of the figure, and it gives the figure this glow that I really like. It wasn't necessarily something I was anticipating, and that's one thing. I learned it from these oil paintings, and I've been able to incorporate it into all of the painting I've been doing, is I don't always have a clear view in mind of what something is going to look like before I start. Sometimes I do, and sometimes that's where the inspiration for a piece comes from. I know what I want before I do it, and I want to make it happen. But in instances like this, I don't know what I want. I don't know what it's going to look like, so it's always a surprise. And as long as I limit the amount of time that I will spend on something, I'm usually pretty happy with the result. So I really did try to limit myself to as close to an hour as possible for working on this particular portrait. I wanted to keep it loose, and I wanted to just express more than create something that was a perfect resemblance of me, really capturing what I look like physically and just kind of interpreting more, and creating something with a bit more emotion and a bit more feeling. And I really like that. I love playing around with things and allowing it to be loose and approaching each painting as an experiment. I've been doing more of that in other mediums as well. So whether I'm working with gouache or acrylic gouache or watercolors, I'm kind of trying to adopt this like life mindset of allowing each painting to be an experiment. It's just one step along the road in my art, and I can look at it and say, this was a fun experiment, this was a fun expression, think about what I learned from it, and then move on to the next piece, because I want to keep creating more pieces, and then it allows every piece to even be more and more of a snapshot. And I know I've talked about that in sketchbook tours and things, how I want a sketchbook page to be a snapshot of where I was at that point in my life. And I'm trying to translate that more to paintings. I want each painting to be a snapshot. And while this is, my job, it's only my job because I want it to be. So I'm just going to make it what I want it to be. And I will create products of some things, but I want it to be something that I will always enjoy. And I know that sometimes you have to make yourself work, and it's not always going to be this creative and inspiration-filled experience, but if I can take advantage of that as often as possible, I'm gonna do it. I'm just going to keep doing my hobby, and it's an amazing thing that I can earn money and support my family from this hobby. But I want to just keep working on finding what I love about art and clinging to that and doing more of it. And I think that that is what's going to make this successful, not just in a monetary standpoint, but as something that I want to do long term and that is inspiring to me and to my children. And oh boy, this self-portrait video painting, it turned into something else. I don't really know. I don't really know. I hope you guys have enjoyed this rambly existential mess. I've enjoyed talking to you guys about this stuff. I love this portrait. I love how it turned out. It was very fun. If you guys would like to see more oil painting in the future, please do let me know. I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with new mediums, sharing new kinds of things with you guys, and it's good. It's good times. Yeah, things are good, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. If you're interested in checking out Skillshare, you guys know already, I highly recommend them. I love the platform, I love learning new things, and the link is down in the description. Thank you guys, you're the best. I will see you next week. Bye.